Hi, this is Caroline Acott with the Instructional Technology Department. I'm going to go through a few host settings that you can use when Zooming with your students. So the first one that I'm going to talk about is how to mute and unmute your students. By default, all students or participants will be muted upon entry, but as of right now, they have the capability to unmute themselves. If there's a point during your lesson that you do not want students to unmute themselves, then I would use this feature down here. When you go down to your toolbar and click on Security, there are a few things here listed, and one of them is unmute themselves. So right now that is checked. So participants are allowed to unmute themselves. If you click that, it will uncheck that box, and when students try to unmute themselves, it will say the host is not allowing participants to unmute themselves. So they'll know that you're not currently allowing them to unmute themselves. Over here on the right-hand side, if this is where my participants button is clicked, it says mute all. So if you would like to mute all, you can use that feature there as well. The next setting that I'm going to go over is screen sharing. So as of right now, only the host can screen share. There are two options you have here if you would like a student to screen share. The first is to go down back to the security button and click on allow participants to screen share. So if I clicked that, that would allow all participants, any participant in your Zoom session to be able to share the screen. If I do not want all participants to do that, then we have one more option. Another option would be, again, make sure your participants are clicked here. And I could go up to student 1 and I could make them a co-host. If I made student 1 a co-host, then student 1 for a brief period would be allowed to share his or her screen. And then after they're finished, I would go back up and hover over their name, hit more, and then I would withdraw the co-host permission. The third host setting that I'm going to go over is annotations. To be able to annotate, I need to share my screen. In this case, I'm going to share my whiteboard. You have several different options here as another toolbar pops up for the host, so they can use the draw button, the text button, stamp, spotlight, change the color, etc. For example, I could do a math problem on the board. If I wanted a student to be able to annotate over this, right now their annotations are turned off. But if I wanted students to be able to annotate or finish the math problem, I could go to Security and I could click on Annotate on Shared Content, and students would be able to annotate over this. Another way to get there would be from your toolbar to go to the More button and click on Disable Annotation for Others or Enable Annotation for Others.